race press conferences. We've now been joined by our race-winning crew chief, Charles Denike. Did I get that right? That's it, yes. Okay, I was worried about that one. So, okay, we've now been joined by Charles, who obviously was the winning crew chief in today's Brickyard 400. Charles, congratulations. I know this was a big win, not just to win the crown jewel of the Brickyard 400, but to lock your team into the playoffs. Just talk about those last few laps, the reality of maybe running out of fuel and kind of what was going through your mind from the pit box.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly stressful in the last one. You know, we felt like we were in a pretty good spot coming to the 5 to go when the caution came out. Obviously, we were leading with a 3 or 4 second gap, so felt confident then. And then getting the lead on the first green white checker, everything was fine there with fuel. And when the caution came out again, it obviously was really stressful for everybody involved. You know, all the other teams too, not just ours. So it was just super proud of everybody to make sure that we got the decisions correct, and that Bubba could see it all the way through, that we didn't have another caution and have to come pit for fuel.
All right, we will go to questions now. I know we will have several, so we're going to work to get a microphone to you. We're going to start in the back with Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. The second, going into the last overtime, was there any question of whether to pit or not, and kind of give up the lead in that situation just for fear that you were going to run out and finish 25th?
Well, I mean, yes. So yes, there's certainly a question, and I think there's probably a question for all the people that were in a similar fuel situation as us, and we're just weighing all the different options, counting the number of laps that it's going to take to open pit road and close pit road, and you know, every caution lap that goes on, your lap that you think you're going to run out moves a little bit, but your post regulation. So as we said, you're trying to grow fuel in the process. So yeah, we certainly had those conversations. They're difficult ones to have, but we felt like the odds were in our favor to give it another go. And it was a kind of a unanimous vote by all of our supporting cast that we have back home at Airspeed to go for it for sure.
And then on the white flag lap, it looked like Bubba slowed coming out of 2 and even into 3 a little bit, almost like he was out of fuel. When you're watching this, were you thinking, are we out? What was your thought process going through that?
No, I mean, I just thought that maybe the 5 had a little bit of a surge. But obviously after the checkered flag, we had enough for a long burnout and to drive it to victory lane. So, you know, we felt like we used all the tools that Toyota provides us to the best of our ability, and we're able to roll the dice there at the end. You know, Bubba did an incredible job of saving fuel. You know, it's critical save mode to be able to get to that point. But you know, the 5 and the 24 and you know, 45, for example, we were all in the same situation. You know, and I think that's the 45 felt like they were in a little bit worse spot there. So you started to see people thinking that they needed to pit for fuel, and obviously at that point, it's, you know, those are difficult times for sure.
Okay, we'll continue with questions. We'll go up front to Dustin Long.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Charles, what have you know, obviously as a coach, you're always working with an athlete, so obviously Bubba's your athlete. What were the things that you've been working with him on this year to build to a moment like this, to, in a pressure situation, perform? He has performed, but to even do something like this, how has it come to this moment in the tenure since you've been with him?
Yep. So we started off with a really good program to begin with, the 2311 had, you know, and then they welcomed me into the program to try to continue to grow and move it forward. And we started off just believing that the race weekend is a process, winning is a process, and there are all these things that, you know, that we have to do and we have to execute well, and then put yourself in contention. So if you contend to win 3 races, you probably won 1 of them, you know, 33%. So our main goal was to put ourselves in contention more, and then with the belief that if we do that, you know, enough, we'll be able to close out races and win races. So we've had, you know, a little bit of adversity over different times of the summer with finishing the races, you know, and we would run well and something would happen. So it's just very reassuring to the group to know that that we're capable of seeing that all the way through, and just super proud of all the men and women at 2311 for preparing some incredible race cars and doing all the things that it takes to put these 3 cars on the racetrack week in and week out.
talking about that process, what in specific did you have to do with him and with this group? Obviously, a very good foundation.
Yep.
So what was the fine tune? Like you say, you want to contend, win one of those three. How did you get to that point, and how was today that one?
I'll just give you a little example from practice. Practice was a bit chaotic because all the cars were on the racetrack at the same time. We had 2 sets of tires, we only had 25 minutes. There's a lot going on. We did one run of 6 laps, and then we're going to do another run of 10 laps. We never got a great read on the car. We never got great track position to run. There was just always something happening, right? And we went into qualifying, and Bubba said, I don't completely know what I had in the car. And I said, well, this is superstar qualifying, though. This is what we show up to do. And I said afterwards, while it may seem chaotic, we checked all the boxes that we needed to check. We had clean air, we had traffic, we did a pit road entry, a pit road exit. We did an adjustment to understand the balance. So, those are all things that you work through to make sure that you feel prepared on Saturday night to make your changes going into Sunday. And then, we have a lot of data at our disposal to look at to get ready for qualifying. So we step through that, and then it's on him to go out there and perform and show everybody what he's capable of doing, and that's what we did on Saturday. And then obviously carried that over to today. Our planning for what kind of strategy we're going to do and what our options were was really predicated on where we qualified. So just knowing that we were up front, we could lay the groundwork on how to maximize our day, stay there, and then put ourselves in contention to start stage 3, which is what we were able to do.
All right, we're going to continue with questions. We'll go to Zach, and then John.
Zach Sterniel of NASCAR.com. Charles, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your first cup win, points-paying win, I should say, comes here in a crown jewel. What does this day mean for you personally?
It's just really special. I've been able to do a lot of cool things in my life for sure, and this one will go on page 1 of the book.
This is, Bubba's been excellent here over the years, regardless of whatever car he's driven. But qualifying second this weekend, saving fuel, beating Kyle Larson straight up on 2 late restarts there. Do you feel like this was one of the best weekends you've seen him execute?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we've had some really good ones, but it takes great ones to go win against these great teams and great race car drivers.
All right, John, go ahead.
John Newby, Savage Ventures. So Denny was in here earlier, and he said that you kind of make all the strategy decisions for all 3 teams, and that 2311 is unlike any other organization because everyone works on everyone's cars. I was curious, why does that make the team successful?
Yep. So obviously it's myself and Billy and Davin. So during the week we split up some of our primary roles, and I focus on strategy, analytics, systems. Billy focuses on setup and simulation, and Davin focuses on aerodynamics. So we make sure that we maximize all of all the work into those areas by kind of prioritizing that way. And then so if maybe that's 50 or 60% of our effort during the week, and then we can back up and kind of look globally across the rest of what we need to do. And the team, the company works incredibly well together to build the cars, to field the cars, and to come execute on the weekend. And it's from, when we unload and go through inspection all the way to the reason that I was a little late getting here, because we had the entire company out there taking a photo together, because it's a win for the company, not just for the 23 team specifically.
All right, Jeff in the back.
Hey, Jeff Cook from The Athletic. Hey, the 2 restarts with Larson, I mean, I know Bubba's been pretty good on restarts over the years, but this is not a situation where he's typically been in late race, having to defend against the best guy. How nervous were you at that point, or were you confident? Obviously, you're thinking about fuel and stuff as well, but those 2 restarts, I mean, that he had to really earn that.
Yep. So, I mean, he's a beast on restarts, first off, right? And, kind of back to the question earlier from Dustin is, what have we worked on this year? It's controlling what we can control and managing those things and managing the emotions that come with controlling what you can control. And if it's your day, seize the moment. And if it turns out not to be your day, then, we move on to next week. So full faith and confidence that he's going to go out there and be able to do that restart. And if he gets it and nails it, we win the race. If somehow Larson, wins it instead, then we pick each other up and we keep moving forward.
All right, I'll come up front to Daniel McFadden.
Daniel McFadden, frontchurch.com. Denny mentioned you have a military background, and I was just wondering what exactly is your military background?
Yeah, so after I graduated college, I went in the Army for 9 years. So that was kind of my first career. But I grew up around a racing family and continued to race, on the side as I could.
Doing what exactly?
What's that?
Doing what exactly? What kind of racing?
Working on late model stock cars in Virginia, crewing, mechanicing, crew chiefing type things, not driving. So when I felt like my time was kind of done in the Army and I was ready to do something different, then it was a natural time to pursue professionally racing. So that's what I did when I got out of the military.
So how does your military background in the Army, how does that serve you in your role as a crew chief, leading a team, especially during the last 35 laps of this race?
Yeah.
How does that serve you well in keeping your team's heads on straight and focused? And
I think one thing that helps is just being more comfortable and calm under high pressure situations. And obviously in motorsports, it's as high a pressure as you can get in competition. So I think a lot of the lessons learned during my time, in the military serves me well in those situations.
All right, I'll take one final question.
James Krause with the Journal-Gazette. The one guy that I feel like hasn't been mentioned yet is Freddie in this. Coming into this team and having two guys with the chemistry that he and Bubba have, how has that helped you? And how big of a role did he play, not just in this win, but in sort of the things Denny talked about, this organization just getting better and this team getting better?
Freddie is obviously instrumental in our success. Little maybe unknown fact is Freddie and I worked together in 2022. So it helped having already, have a relationship and rapport. Certainly you come in as a new crew chief to a new group and you're learning everything and all of it. So at least learning a relationship with a spotter was one thing that I didn't have to start from scratch on. And it was really helpful. I feel like we are able to support each other well, keep each other calm, back each other up. And he understands what I'm trying to accomplish from the pit box, and I understand what he's able to do from the spotter stand. And we're just able to pull the rope the same direction.
All right, Charles, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Enjoy this one.